Good morning. Today is Wednesday, May 20th. I want to talk to us today about something that is actually an experience that we all have, because sometimes each of us gets tired. Whenever we go through an experience that is demanding and prolonged, there are some who choose to just kind of drop out. They've fought other fights. They've struggled with other hardships. They've been asked to step up and take action for themselves or for their family or for their country. And they seem to have spent their energy in maybe some very useful ways, but having spent that energy, they're to the point that they're just not wanting to fight back anymore. They have slain their dragons. They have taken their hills. They've engaged in the battles of life enough, and now they're tired. Today, I want to talk to those who are tired. Now, all people at whatever stage in life go through these periods of time. But particularly, and I say this now, and I'll expand on it, but particularly as we age, as we go through extraordinary circumstances, we get tired. I get it. It's tired. Not like my muscles and my bones are tired, but like my mind, like my soul is tired. We begin to think that we've done enough, and so we kind of withdraw. But from the Christian perspective, that very fatigue may in fact be a part of what God needs you to have experienced to accomplish the next great task in your life. I think about David in the Old Testament. He repeatedly was threatened by Saul and was chased by the forces of Saul. David fought his battles. He had done things that were sinful against God and had to learn to deal with that in his own life. He suffered the agony of grief. He was handed great disappointment from the very God whom he served. And in so many ways, he could have quit, but he didn't. He used all of his experience to be useful to God in whatever way he could. I think of the Apostle Paul. We see him first as a brash, young, influential man, and then we see him humbled, broken, and because of that, made new. His life was threatened several times. Actually, it just made him stronger. I want you to listen to what he experienced. He was trying to convey to the Corinthians in 2 Corinthians his authority as an apostle, but also his authority because of what he had experienced. He wanted them to know that though they are going through a hard time, he understands that. So this is what he says. I'm reading 2 Corinthians chapter 11, starting in the last part of verse 21. But in whatever respect anyone else is bold, I speak in foolishness. I am just as bold myself. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they descendants of Abraham? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I speak as if insane. I more so. In far more labors, in far more imprisonments, beaten times without number, often in danger of death. 5 times I received from the Jews 39 lashes. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I have spent in the deep. I have been on frequent journeys, in dangers from rivers, dangers from robbers, dangers from my countrymen, dangers from the Gentiles, dangers in the city, dangers in the wilderness, dangers on the sea, dangers among false brethren. I have been in labor and hardship, through many sleepless nights, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold and exposure. Apart from such external things, there is the daily pressure on me of concern for all the churches. Who is weak without my being weak? Who is led into sin without my intense concern? And then, after all of that, in the next chapter, in chapter 12, he talks about his thorn in the flesh. And through all of this, his conclusion is that he had learned that having to depend on God, on the strength that God gives us, and not on his own strength, is what made him stronger. It is all of those experiences put together that convinced Paul that he could be useful even though he was beaten down and tired. You see, Paul was resilient. David was resilient. There are a lot of experiences in life that make us tired. Again, not just physically tired, but a certain fatigue of the soul, an exhaustion of the mind. There's simply the loss of the desire to fight any more battles. But it is at this point that we might be the most useful to God. Our years of knowledge, our collective experience, our defeats, and our victories all become useful tools in the hands of the Lord, who wants to use our wisdom to touch the lives of others. I know a lot of people, young and old, who sometimes feel this fatigue. We'd like to go and hide in our comfort. Now understand that Jesus would occasionally go away and be by himself on the mountain so that he could pray. That was a time of spiritual renewal, and that is in fact a good experience for us to think about as well, getting away from everything else in life so that we might be spiritually renewed. But the kind of fatigue that I'm talking about tempts people to escape on a more permanent basis, to get away forever, for the rest of their lives, from all of the input of a chaotic world. Sometimes we just want to hide. We want to go escape into some other realm. We want to go to the lake or to the mountain or to a cabin hidden away from the rest of the world. But now we are needed. This world is looking for hope. It's looking for strength. It's looking for direction. This is not a time for us to hide or to escape. Now is our time. Now is our calling. We can rest after we die. That may sound a little cold, but we're going to spend everything that we have right now on our service to God. And when our time comes to rest permanently in His hands on the other side of the grave, then so be it. But for right now, we need to do what we can do in our service to God. It is His strength, not our own, that's what is needed. Every day, you rest in the hands of God. But that rest is given so that every day you can rise to serve Him. Christian, I hope that today you are ready to serve God, to set aside your fatigue just for one more day, one day at a time. And we seek to serve God with our collective experiences. Today, we get past being tired. Today, we are resilient in the hands of God. He has called us into His service, and we are still in His service. Go, Christian, serve our mighty God today. Bye.